Self-care, my friends. Why do we struggle with it? Why do we feel guilty with it? Please, if you learn one thing from this show, and one thing I can share with you in my lifetime of study and my blessed ability to be exposed to some amazing, wise, intelligent, beautiful, heart-centered mentors and teachers, is they all emphasize you have to take care of yourself first. You have to put yourself first. I know it's hard. It's hard for me too. I'm still learning every day, which is why I want to share this episode with you today. In today's busy world, how can we find the inspiration, knowledge, and energy to live a healthy and empowered life? If we balance and harmonize our mind, exercise our body, live according to the laws of nature, and connect to spirit, can we find a way to heal, become our authentic self, and live our purpose with love? I am your hostess, Amy Fournier, and welcome back to Awakening Aphrodite. Welcome back to Awakening Aphrodite. The show is about helping you to be healthy and fit in mind, body, and spirit, as well as tap into your intuition, your true source of power, and awaken your authentic self. I'm really happy you're here with me today, my friend, because we're going to talk about a very important topic that many of us struggle with: self-care. Making time for yourself as a priority every single day. Feeding yourself first. Very important. Something that I've learned from my teachers, my mentors, and that I've even noticed in the highest achievers in the world. People who've really accomplished big and significant things, no matter who they are in what industry. They always prioritize themselves and their desires, period. It's just the only way to achieve things like that. You got to put in the time, and you got to care for the vehicle, right? Your body, mind, soul. So the self has to come first, and the self, and then the other, and then the collective. That's kind of the order of it, and it can't really work any other way. Otherwise, you're just going to be burnt out, tired, resentful, even if it's subconscious. You don't know, you don't think you're resentful, but you probably are. And you can't give from an empty glass, right? So I want to share with you from a book called The Courage to Heal Workbook. That's by Laura Davis, who is a prominent voice in the world of child sexual abuse. And this passage from the book is on nurturing yourself. And in it, she mentions some very interesting questions that she asks people that struck me like, I want to share this with my friends on the show, because I think they apply to anyone who struggles with self-care. And why do we struggle, by the way? What is that even all about? We have to get over that, don't we? Okay, so these are some of the questions she asks herself. I'd like you to just tap into your heart, take some breaths, close your eyes if you can. If not, just trying to drop into your body and feel the answers you have to these questions. You ready? Here we go. Are you gentle and forgiving with yourself when you make a mistake? Are you able to take breaks? Are you able to do things you enjoy? Are you on your own side, or are you still fighting yourself every step along the way? Do you give yourself credit for your accomplishments? Are you proud of yourself? So those questions Laura Davis actually asks people when they start their healing work with their child abuse process. And she says that she asks them those questions at the very beginning, before she even asks them if they're doing any kind of healing work or, remember things or any of that stuff, because she feels that taking care of yourself is at the very core of the healing process, as many healers do. I'm sure you've heard that before, but I thought it was very interesting that before she even gets into the subject matter, she asks them those questions about, are you just caring for yourself in general, period? So when you're able to say yes to these questions, you're far along in the healing process. However, if you're in the emergency state, you may not be able to answer yes even to a single question. Many of us have been too busy running, surviving, and just getting by to consider the possibility of nurturing ourselves. But even if you're just starting out, I encourage you to take as many small steps towards self-care as you possibly can. It's the beginning of loving yourself. If you've been abused or suffered any kind of emotional or physical trauma, you didn't receive the kind of love, nurturing, and positive reinforcement that builds solid self-esteem, which is basically just good feelings about yourself. And they also lay the foundation for a healthy adult life. Since you didn't get these things as a child, you need to give that love and care to yourself now. In the beginning, others, like a therapist, a partner, a close friend, can do it for you, but ultimately, you have to learn to do it yourself. This can be particularly hard for male survivors. Women are conditioned to be the nurturers and the caregivers in our society. The whole concept of being tender or gentle with anyone, particularly yourself, is foreign for most men. Yet, nurturing is necessary to healing yourself, even if it seems unfamiliar or quote-unquote feminine. One place to begin is by taking a gentle attitude toward the very process of healing. You don't have to abuse yourself, like overstimulate yourself with material about whatever it is you're studying to heal, repeatedly put yourself in overwhelming situations just because, quote-unquote, it's good for you, or never take breaks, etc., in order to heal. Accept where you are and then take one small step forward, not 10. Stressing yourself doesn't promote healing, it impedes it. Try to break away from the old victim's adage, quote, if it feels intense, something must be happening, unquote. Having grown up in a chaotic situation, you may continue to create crises in your adult life because it's familiar to you. You know how to respond to a crisis. You don't know that there's an alternative. There's no doubt that parts of the healing process are cathartic and full of drama, but you also need quiet time for integration, for gathering your strength. You have to give yourself time to rest, to digest the small and sometimes tumultuous changes of healing. So, friends, this goes for any type of trauma or self-care. Because it's just as important that you learn to eat well, to have fun, to have an average, non-crisis moments, downtime, as it is to grapple with any kind of painful memories or trauma that you are experiencing. You need to give yourself some time to relax and assimilate changes in your life and slow down the pace. Nurturing is one of the primary ways we show love to ourselves and to others. It's a learned behavior. We're taught about nurturing through our primary caretakers. If you weren't loved, encouraged, and comforted as a child, or if you were raised as a typical boy, the concept of nurturing may be foreign to you. If you were never shown gentleness or tenderness, or were abused, quote, in the name of love, unquote, you may be confused about what it means to nurture yourself. Unfortunately, many abused children comfort themselves by doing things that also have self-destructive aspects. Even if you understand what it means to nurture yourself, the idea of doing so might upset you. You may feel resentful that someone else isn't doing it for you. You may feel sad and angry that you weren't taken care of as a child. Feelings of guilt and shame may keep you from feeling that you deserve to be cared for by yourself or anyone else. So, my friend, when you hear this, what do you think about when you think about nurturing yourself? How does it make you feel? What's your first reaction? That's my question for you now. If you believe you deserve nurturing only when you're extremely upset, you're like the majority of people who've experienced trauma or neglect, who feel that they have to be totally falling apart before they slow down and take care of themselves. Oh my gosh, I can think of a couple people in my life that definitely applies to. It's like life takes you out, right? Or you get like in an accident or something happens, an illness, and you have to rest, right? And that's kind of the only time you don't feel guilty for resting. Oh boy, that should have a red flag go up if that just triggered something in you as familiar. Nurturing and caretaking of your needs should become a daily habit, like brushing your teeth or eating balanced meals. It should become part of the fabric of life, not something special to be pulled out in emergencies. Even if you don't do much to take care of yourself now, you started out trying to comfort yourself when you were a child. Although you may have done things that had hurtful aspects, you did find ways to make yourself feel better. Some of those ways might be helpful to you today. So try to think back to when you were a child. Think of how you nurtured yourself. I can say that I had a gazillion stuffed animals. I mean, like a gazillion. Is that a number? Well, I had them. My bed, the floor, shelves. I surrounded myself in soft little animals everywhere, and that probably has to do with my intense, deep love for animals to this day. I just adore animals and feel so connected and safe with them. I wonder what is the way you nurtured yourself as a child. So if you have no idea how to begin taking care of yourself, ask other people how they nurture themselves. Ask several people you respect about the things they do to care for themselves, and then even write them down if you can. I'll just share with you that some of the ways that I've learned to nurture myself, because like you, this didn't come naturally to me. Even like things like, my healthy diet and working out and all that stuff, I did it more, well, when I was younger, I did it more just for the aesthetics, for the looks. But as I've gotten older, that's changed. It's become so much more than that. But I've learned to nurture myself by not jamming my schedule with so much stuff, like to do, so many demands on myself. Taking walks after lunch is a new habit I started with my dogs. And I like to listen to my Listening to Smile music, which is my healing frequencies, by the way, that you can check out on my website under recommended products. And it's just gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's changed my life. It helps balance my nervous system, calm me down, works on my subconscious. It's aligned with the frequencies of the Schumann resonance, which is the earth frequencies. It's just beautiful. Anyway, that's one thing I do, is listening to music. Also my core harmonizer. You've probably heard me talk about that so much. I actually have it playing right now. I pretty much have that thing going every day, all the time in the background. Again, it's healing frequencies. That's the way I nurture myself. It calms me down. It helps my animals. It helps my plants. It's just gorgeous. That's on my website as well. I also started taking baths again. I've never been a big bath fan, but I've become one because I've noticed, as I've been living more in my body and less in my head, that I just feel better after. So I tell myself all the deal, like you probably do. I don't have time, this and that. I don't feel like it, right? But I remember that every time I do, I feel better after. And half the time, that's what actually gets me in there in the first place. And yep, sure enough, I'm always glad I did. So make a list of ways you can nurture yourself. Start with the things you thought about in my last question, and then add anything else you can think about as you go along throughout your day. It's basically anything that makes you feel more relaxed, calm, centered, and just kind of who you want to be. So, maybe you like to go roller skating. Maybe you like to cook. Maybe you like to call a friend. Maybe you like to go to a movie. Maybe you like to read a book. Maybe you just like to sit out in nature. I like to nap and take walks with my dog and hike and stuff, like I added. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it is just makes you feel good and loved. Some of the simpler things may overlap, and that's okay. Simple is good. So some things to think about. What are my attitudes about nurturing myself? How are they changing? How would my life change if I nurtured myself? Am I willing to start taking care of myself today? And if so, What is a little thing I can do starting today? And I'll add, my friend, please do something for yourself every single day. We're all busy. Some days you won't have any time at all. Some days you'll have more time. But schedule it and do it. And even if it's just very small, it's a commitment you make to yourself. It's a discipline, knowing and remembering that you have to put yourself first. It's something that we all learn as we get older, because eventually you're going to have to. At one point in your life, your health is going to be an issue, because if you live long enough, if you're blessed, it will. It just will. Your body will change, and you'll be glad the younger you start, because like I always say, the quality of how you live now will determine the quality of how you live later. Very, very important to remember. So please, regardless of your age, think about that now. So nurturing is not just for crisis times. It's important in your daily lives. By combining strategies you knew as a child with newer, less practiced ones, you can now develop a plan for taking care of yourself in a consistent and loving ways. So here are some questions to help assess your present feelings, goals, and needs around the issue of nurturing yourself. What feelings did I have as I listened to this episode? What am I feeling right now? What sensations am I experiencing in my body? How did I feel as I worked through my questions and my answers? How old do I actually feel right now? What was hard for me in listening to this episode? What was confusing? And what didn't I understand? What did I learn? What are the commitments I have now made? What steps have I taken and will I take? What did I do that I'm proud of? What's still unsettled for me? What, if anything, do I want to come back to or follow up on? Or need to make a note to commit to in the future? What do I need to do to take care of myself right now? Yeah, self-care, my friends. Why do we struggle with it? Why do we feel guilty with it? Please, if you learn one thing from this show, and one thing I can share with you in my lifetime of study and my blessed ability to be exposed to some amazing, wise, intelligent, beautiful, heart-centered mentors and teachers, is they all emphasize you have to take care of yourself first. You have to put yourself first. I know it's hard. It's hard for me too. I'm still learning every day, which is why I want to share this episode with you today. And yes, it's very important to take care of others. I mean, I'm giving this show to you for free to help share my love and care and contribution to the world. It's a labor of love indeed. But we have to also include ourselves on the list. And that's something that I'm learning as I've gotten older too. So, The Courage to Heal Workbook by Laura Davis, that chapter on nurturing yourself. Please share it with the men in your life as well, because as she mentioned, men definitely feel more guilty about it and maybe even more uncomfortable about it. We all need it. The world would be a better place. So you know what to do if you want to support me and you enjoyed the show. The best way to do so is to subscribe, share it with a friend, leave a review, and you can check out my recommended products of things I know, love, and value, use every day on my website, amyfournier.com. Many of them have discount coupon codes for you, and it's a way to support me, and I appreciate it so much. So there you go. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time on Awakening Aphrodite. Now go awaken her in you. Would you like to support my mission to help empower people all over the world to be all of who they truly are? If so, please subscribe to the show, leave a review on iTunes, and share it with a friend. And if you're looking to take immediate action to align your energy and optimize your health, visit amyfournier.com. Thanks for listening to Awakening Aphrodite. Let's awaken her together in you. I'm your hostess, Amy Fournier, And I already can't wait to be with you again and for you to hear what I have planned for the next show.
Thanks for listening to Awakening Aphrodite with Amy Fournier. To learn more about Amy, check out her website, amyfournier.com. That's AMYFOURNIER.com. You can also check out Amy's live and on-demand virtual fitness and yoga classes and sign up for her newsletter to receive a free mini ebook of 3 of her top tips for making holistic health a lifestyle. Again, that's amyfournier.com and get your ebook sent to your email immediately. Connect with Amy on the daily on Instagram at FitAmyTV, FITAMYTV, and watch many of the podcast episodes and subtopic clips on her YouTube channel, which is also FitAmyTV. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time on Awakening Aphrodite.